love you? Do we hate you? Why should you care? 'Cause we're the best damn review team out there. It's time to rate that album.
Hi, and welcome back to Rate That Album, a back and forth album review between myself, Joseph Fremming, and my good friend Paul Muad'Dib. Paul, how are you doing?
Well, you know, they say the heart of rock and roll is still beating. And from what I see, I believe them.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, LA, Hollywood, the Sunset Strip is something everyone should see. Yeah, this week.
Are you talking about the neon lights and the pretty girls all dressed so scantily?
Yep, this week, Paul and I ventured into what for our generation was dad rock.
Dad rock, dude. Yeah.
This is what dads listened to in the 80s. Was Huey Lewis in the News.
Mm-hmm.
And I really only picked this album so I could do the Patrick Bateman thing in the last episode, Paul.
Uh-huh.
But so that's why I picked it. But then listening to it, I got angry. I got angry because of how fucking good it is.
Go on.
This album does not have any right being this good. My God, Paul.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. But it is. I was giggling the whole time listening to it. I was like, I thought this was going to be a joke. I'm like, all right. I knew there was like one or two good songs on this thing. And as we'll get into it, it's just banger after banger.
This is basically a greatest hits. They came out with their third album and just like, yeah, we're hitting all the hits on one album.
It's just like, what the fuck, man? Slow down, Huey. This is a thing. So you know more about Huey though than I do. How I learned, I'll tell you real quick. I think you and I of our generation, we learned about Huey from our dad and from Back to the Future. That's how I learned about Huey Lewis.
And MTV, because they were on MTV all the time, and their videos were fucking insane.
Yeah, they were. I will give you that. Yes. Huey Lewis was a staple on MTV. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was the Back to the Future. Power of Love and Back in Time were huge songs. Huey's in the movie. He's one of the people when Marty's trying out for the Battle of the Bands thing at the beginning of the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
when he says they're too loud and he's playing a Huey Lewis song.
He play a heavy metal version of Huey Lewis. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, but they're an interesting band in that they're originally from San Francisco. This is a California band.
Obviously.
Huey Lewis joined a band in '72 called Clover. Which became like kind of known as a UK pub rock band. Just a bar band. I mean, you can kind of tell.
Oh yeah.
Especially on the Hank Williams cover at the end of the album. They were very, very much a bar band.
Yeah. No question.
Clover, their main claim to fame would be they were the backup band for Elvis Costello on his debut album, My Aim Is True. Huey Lewis isn't on the album, but another member of the what would become Huey Lewis in the News was.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, My Aim Is True is my favorite Elvis Costello album. So that's
such a good album.
Allison is such a good song.
Oh, I love that song. That's on like every one of my playlists and has been forever.
Watching the Detectives, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Elvis Costello does not get enough love, and that's really a fucking shame. Veronica's another one of my favorite songs of his as well.
Yeah. Another weird thing that I found is around this time when they're doing the backup of Elvis Costello, Huey Lewis was working with Thin Lizzy.
Really?
Contributing harmonica to the song Baby Drives Me Crazy. Recorded on stage in the Life and Dangerous album.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But Clover they didn't really become a whole lot. So they came back to the States in the late 70s. That's where the band kind of disbanded and members joined with Lewis, and they started Huey Lewis and the American Express.
Is that what they were called? The American Express?
Yep. Let's fast forward a little bit because their label Chrysalis did not like the name American Express for fear of trademark infringement by the credit card company.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So they went back. They went to Huey Lewis and the News. Yeah, and they just had some minor hits before in the early 80s, but it wasn't until this band, like Patrick Bateman, gets all excited about sports where they really came into their own. So now we're getting to that part. Paul, let me place some newspapers on the floor, pop on my raincoat, and bash your brains in with my acts of knowledge of Huey Lewis and the News.
Get on it, buddy. Get on it.
Yeah, this was a self-produced album, Paul.
That's crazy.
Yeah, their manager thought that their demos were sounding better than the producers they were working with, and they kind of approached this album with meld old techniques with modern technology. That's why there's a lot of synth. Interesting that I listened to the 30th anniversary of this, and like the other half of the album is a live album of the whole album, Sports. And they replaced the synthy stuff, a lot of it, with like horn section from their their horn band, their horn section of their band.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of but this whole like melding the old with the new was inspired by Steely Dan's song "Hey 19."
Good old dude. Anyone that doesn't love Steely Dan is missing out.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this album was huge when it came out. It had tons of hits. Like we mentioned, it's basically a greatest hits album.
It really is. It really, really is.
They would end up suing the movie studio behind Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Because Ray Parker Jr. and the movie studio basically cribbed "I Want a New Drug" for the Ghostbusters theme. Ray Parker Jr. himself, I watched an interview, he was not in on that lawsuit, so he made his money, and he still gets royalties off of the song.
So what I find interesting, and I know a little bit about this, was that the Ghostbusters people reached out to Huey Lewis and asked him to do a song on Ghostbusters, and he said no. And they brought in Ray Parker Jr. and basically said, "Give us a Huey Lewis song."
He did.
And he did.
Yeah, they couldn't, Huey Lewis couldn't do it because they were touring at the time. So, but it kind of after that, that's when he decided to do the Back to the Future soundtrack.
Now, I have to bring up a story about that, because the song we're talking about, we will get to it, is "I Want a New Drug," and I think everyone knows that. We're listening in the car, and I have the kids in the car, and my 4-year-old is looking around really confused, and I'm like, "What's up, honey?" And she goes, "Is this Ghostbusters?"
Yeah, and even the break in the song, when we get to it, it's the same. Ghostbusters break is the same as "I Want a New Drug."
Right, and I just had I almost went off the road because we were driving to the airport, and I was like, "Holy shit! You're brilliant. You're 4 years old." And I'm like, "Actually, honey, it is, but it." And I was trying to explain to this 4-year-old what was going on, which is going way over her head. But the fact that my 4-year-old was able to look at me and go, "Is this Ghostbusters?" It was like, wow, you have a lawsuit on your hand.
Well, according to Premiere Magazine 2004, Paul, filmmakers at Columbia admitted using the song "I Want a New Drug" as temporary background music in many scenes of the movie.
Oh my God.
Lewis, so after the lawsuit, there was, a gag order. Nobody could really talk about it. Huey Lewis then, on their Behind the Music, brought it up, prompting Ray Parker Jr. to sue Huey Lewis.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So what was the deal? What happened with that?
Nobody knows because it was settled out of court
Okay. Okay.
So it's a gag order. Nobody can talk about it. Otherwise, the lawyers will jump in. So nobody really knows.
But Parker sued. What happened with that lawsuit?
I think it was settled out of court.
Okay. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. You can't even talk about the fucking conflict that there was.
They can't talk about it. Well, I mean, that's pretty standard.
I suppose.
These kind of contracts, because otherwise people just start talking shit, and then you start impeding on their dignity or whatever, their public, how the public perceives them, and then you're opening up more lawsuits. So
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. All right. What a fucking shit show.
Lawyers made everything better, Paul.
Everything better. Absolutely. Fucking Christ. All right, Joe. Well, let's you
want to get into it, Paul?
I think we get into it.
Let's get into the heart of rock and roll, Paul.
Oh boy, the heart of rock and roll. Well, what a banger to start with.
This is a way to start an album, man.
Yeah, this is where you go. You got the fucking heartbeat and you just got it. You just fucking go. I mean, lyrically, this is not high art.
No, none of the songs. And we'll get to the one that's very confusing because the tempo doesn't match the message of the song.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. I believe I know which one you're talking about. But there is like my other daughter, my 15-year-old asked, she goes, why did everyone sing like this back in the day? There's a very distinct loungy, laid back vocal style that Huey has. And when you hear it, you'll know it. And it's imitated, but it's never done quite right, except fucking, I mean, obviously it's him. He nails the sound, and it fucking good on the news because it fucking works.
Yeah. The music blends with his vocals really well. I mean, he's not my favorite vocalist, but he's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's good. He's better than what he should be because the band is doing it. And it's definitely, the song has that 50s, 60s old school rock sound, but as you talked about and already mentioned, there's this modern production to it. So it almost has a timeless sound to it. I mean, if you said to me this was done in the early 80s, I would say no, it wasn't. Because as you and I have talked about numerous times, there's a lot of that, even with that synth and things like that. 80s music typically has that 80s sound, and this escapes it for the most part. For the most part, this album escapes that sound. But it's, yeah, I would say this, I mean, you start an album and you got this going. I mean, I can see Rick James in the fucking studio in that fucking Eddie Murphy party all the time where he's like, yes. You could see dollar signs. Everyone knows this. They are on to something here.
Yeah, they had to have known they were on to something special with this. I mean, just like every song is just on fire, like the chorus and the melodies, like it's just solid, and it comes in at like what, 37 minutes.
37 minutes is not a long album.
Arguably, the last song is probably what I would consider the filler song, but fuck,
yeah,
that's pretty good track record.
It's a pretty good track record. I mean, it borders on EP, and you and I have talked about this a lot, where sometimes less is more, and they nail it on this one. For the most part, I have some things we'll get to, but I mean, the Heart of Rock and Roll is a fucking classic. I mean, it's still played to this day on fucking oldie stations. It was on oldie stations when we were kids. Yep. I mean, it's just one of those fucking bangers of a fucking song.
Yeah, and it's based off of a show they did in Cleveland. They thought San Francisco was like the mecca of rock and roll music, and then I guess how their reaction to their music in Cleveland was that they decided the Heart of Rock. And the original thing was the Heart of Rock and Roll was in Cleveland.
Oh, I can hear that. Yep.
Yeah. So, but they changed it. But yeah.
Yeah, because then you could go around and tour and put in different work. I mean, that's a touring. I mean, again, power band, right? Yeah. You know, glad to be here, Baltimore. The Hall of Rock and Rolls in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they go around it just saying it's still beating, and then they just talk about other towns in the verses.
Yep. And again, when you're touring, whatever town you're in, it's thank you, thank you, Springville.
What was in the Spinal Tap? I think it was Cleveland, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Cleveland. Yep. It was Cleveland in Spinal Tap.
Some other town.
Yep. Fucking love that movie. Then we get Heart and Soul.
Yeah, this is another banger.
Jesus Christ, dude, just goes right in, doesn't it?
Back-to-back bangers, man. It's unrelenting almost. These sons of bitches have no right.
No, it should not be this good. It should not be this good. Heart and Soul, another good one. Again, not the strongest of lyrics, because she's a heart and soul. She's hot and cold. She's got it all hot loving every night. Whoa. I mean, Huey's horny. It's a song about fucking getting laid. And it does hit my limit of the man. You got to put in some different lyrics.
Well, according to the Caster Plasters woman who, did plasters of rock and roll royalties dicks, Huey's was the most endowed.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard Huey was fucking hung like a mule, man.
Yeah. He has the sledgehammer, Paul.
He does have
not
the
Peter Gabriel.
Not Peter Gabriel. I mean, what do you say about Heart and Soul? It's a killer hook. It's the guitar work on it's fucking amazing.
Even with the dumbass lyrics, it's still great.
It's a dumbass lyric, but you don't care because the song's so fucking good.
It's got that vibe to it, man. It's got that energy and feel to it. Like, yeah, fuck, who cares if the lyrics are dumb?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, these are two songs that are still played on the radio. So you know them, everyone knows them. Next you get Bad is Bad. Weird.
It's a weird song. It's got weird effects on it. It sounds like there's almost like a backward thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's dark. It's a dark doo-wop song. And I got to admit, I was all in.
Yeah. He comes home and there's a strange pair of shoes underneath the bed, Paul.
Yeah. I mean, this is, and just the sounds for it. And again, it's you had two bangers, and then you have this more serious, dark doo-wop song that is done in a
doo-wop song.
They did a doo-wop song, and it works. It works.
Paul, you want to know something else crazy about this song?
What's that?
It was written in the late 70s. Well, Lewis was working with Thin Lizzy, whose frontman, Phil Lynott, who was like fucking awesome. I love Thin Lizzy. Liked the song so much that he would sing a fast-paced version of this at some of his concerts.
Are you serious?
Yep.
What the fuck? God damn, Huey. Well, Jesus Christ on a crutch. Yeah, I like this song. Again, it wasn't one of the hits. It's a good fucking song, and it's weird. And you and I both go.
Yeah, it's a left turn that somehow still works with the vibe of this album.
And that's the thing I have in my notes was like, it's a great spot for the song because you had two just straight up bangers, and then you have this kind of this darker whatever song. It's actually sequencing wise a fantastic spot for it.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was listening to the sequencing of these songs is done really well. This is like one of the I don't want to say rare because we've listened to a lot of good albums that have good sequencing, but this really stands out on how to sequence an album.
Well, I would say yes, and especially in the 80s. I think it was, it was a big art form in the 60s and 70s, and it kind of got lost in the doldrums of the 80s with just people putting out fucking, one hit wonders and singles and things like that. So the fact that the band produced it themselves, this one's a good one. It does have a little bit of a dated sound to it. Like you could tell this is an 80s song. However, still when you think about that, the band themselves did the production on it. These guys should be, if they're not in production still or got into the production business, that is a fucking shame, because this is how you produce a fucking album.
I think this has been a working band ever since they're,
probably, yeah.
That's good too. Like, like, again, like I listened to that live album that was tacked onto the 30th anniversary, and they're solid. They're still a solid band, and like to make up for the synth, they worked around it with using their horn section, which is fucking
awesome.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I mean, other bands would use a tape.
Yeah, other bands would use a tape. I think that's awesome. They brought in a horn section and did it that way. And I'm going to check out the live stuff because I would like to hear it with the horns.
Yeah.
Bad is Bad was not a single, but it could have been. It
Yep.
really could have been. So I'll give it total. Yeah, absolutely.
And now we have I Want a New Drug, which is this is like my second favorite song in the album. My number one is This Is It. But I Want a New Drug is, I mean, as soon as this pops on, you're like, motherfucking Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Again, my daughter's like, is this Ghostbusters? I it's so good. Ray Parker Jr. stole it and Weird Al parodied it. I mean, what do you want me to say? I Want a New Drug is a fucking classic. And this one, I like the lyrical content of it.
Because it's not a drug song. He wants something that makes him feel like how he feels like when he's in love.
Exactly. Yes, people think it's a drug song, and it's not. It's all about him, that feeling of being in love.
Yep.
And that's all he wants. And it's a great song. 100%.
Yeah, and just the production and the guitar work on here really
so solid.
They're such a tight band.
They really are.
Even the longer songs that go past 5 minutes don't feel like that. Mm-hmm. And that's just a testament to how tight the band is, I think.
100%.
And they're just, fuck.
It's really, I mean, I Want a New Drugs. Again, you did a good song when Weird Al parodies it and Ray Parker Jr. steals it. I mean, that's just what it is. Just fucking terrific. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's a fucking banger of a song. Yeah, it's just out the gate. It's one of those just great songs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of those songs, like I don't see anybody being able to cover it because Huey's got such a distinctive voice. Yes. Which is, that's one thing I think we should touch on. He's, sure, they sound like a bar band, but most bar bands don't have a vocalist with a distinct vocal like Huey Lewis does. So correct. And that's the other thing. That's what I was saying about him is it's like, Huey Lewis has a voice that has been that people imitate. Bar bands, they want to be Huey. And I've seen it. I mean, I auditioned with bar bands and I never got it. I never wanted to be in a bar band. I actually, there was this one band that was going through kind of a breakup and they played at some of the bigger bars in St. Cloud and Sauk Rapids. And I happened to know the manager and she knew that she was a fan of my guitar work. And I went and I didn't want to do it, but I was like, okay, I'll entertain this and go audition to be in this band. And I got it, but I was like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't. I don't mean to waste your time, but I can't do this. And because I was like, okay, so we're going to do, because the thing that kicked me out of it was they also wanted me to sing some of the songs, which is fine. I'm a singer. And I was like, one of the songs they want us to do is Sweet Home Alabama. Now, if you're going to do a bar version of Sweet Home Alabama, you have to do it as a perfect rendition cover in my mind. You do not fuck with it because it's a sing-along song. People know exactly what the fucking solo work on it is. They know exactly how it's fucking sung. And they're like, well, we play it this way. And I went, wait, what? And they were like, oh no, we play it this way. We tune it down. We do this. And I was like, no. And I'm like, well, I said, what about the solo? Like, oh, you can do whatever you want with the solo. And I was like, no. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna be lead guitar, I'm gonna do the solo for what it is, which means we can't alternate the tuning. And they're like, well, no, that's the way we've always done it. And I'm like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do. Thank you for your time. I'm out. I'm not. And the manager came and she's like, was it because they're not good enough? And I was like, first of all, I'm not that fucking egotistical of a guitarist and singer. I said, no, I said, honestly, Heather, I said, the reason why is I'm not going to go fucking do these classic songs in front of a bunch of people and be pompous enough to do my own fucking take on it. I said, I'll do that with fucking David Bowie and Lou Reed and all that shit at a fucking coffee house. I'm comfortable doing that. But when you're doing songs that are on the radio that everybody fucking knows and they're drunk at fucking 1:30 in the morning and they want to sing the song that they know and they want to hear that solo they know, I am not going to be that fucking band that's going to be pompous enough to be like, we're better than that. Listen, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do it. And she was like, oh shit, good point. And they actually ended up not replacing and breaking up as a band because she was kind of like, hey guys, why are we doing it this way? Anyways, long story fucking long and a time thing. You got to be really fucking careful when you're trying to reproduce sounds. And Huey Lewis is a sound that people really try and reproduce, and just stop, because it is its own thing. Like, there will never be another Huey Lewis vocally, and people need to stop trying to be it.
Exactly. Yep. You hit it on the head. And another tidbit I found out about this song, Paul, is that they were struggling with this in the studio, and like they're almost going to leave it off the album.
Really?
They used the clicker for the tempo.
Yeah.
Upped it up just a beat or two, and it just all fell into place.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Around in the studio sometimes works, Paul.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely does. Sometimes you do acid and record everything backwards. That happens too. Go on, Joe.
Well, that's it. So now we get to this walking on a thin line, which it sounds good, Paul.
It does.
It's catchy. But the content does not match.
The content does not match. I know about this one because my dad, obviously being Vietnam, he would listen to all like these Vietnam songs, and I knew this was a Vietnam song, and it does. I mean, kudos for trying to do a PTSD song in 1983, you progressive bastard, Huey.
Yeah.
But this isn't the way when you got this tempo, taught me how to shoot, a specialist with a deadly skill, a skill I needed to be a survivor. It's over now, or so they say. Well, sometimes it doesn't work out that way because you're never the same when you've been under fire. This is not the tempo.
No, I think the starting tempo with that weird bass, and it sounds like, again, like from a Michael Mann movie.
Yeah.
Like they would have stuck with that and just stripped it down and slowed it. It would have worked, but I mean, it still fucking works. It's just
still a banger of a
fucking song. It's just confusing. It's confusing when you start listening to the lyrics. It's like when you listen to Born in the USA, except that was, I believe, was done on purpose.
That was done on purpose. I mean, don't get me wrong. This was still a single. Was still on the radio. I remember this being on the radio. This is still a fucking banger of a song. But when you know what it's about and you go, that's an interesting way of doing a PTSD song.
Well, they touched it, and I think that was a lot of artists were noticing post-Vietnam.
Absolutely.
It was just kind of like how shitty.
Oh, yeah.
Veterans were. I mean, Springsteen and Huey Lewis.
And fucking Billy Joel.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Good Night Saigon is one of my favorite songs.
It's such a
beautiful song. It's such a beautiful song. So again, I give people credit when they do things like this, because this, and lyrically, this is a really great lyrical song. It really is. So,
I would like to hear if they ever did a stripped down version.
I would, yeah, absolutely.
That would be really good. Yeah.
Yep. So next we get Finally Found a Home.
A song that this was inspired by an offhand comment about ticky-tacky houses near an airport.
Are you serious?
Yeah, basically. I think it's like tracking housing was probably when it was starting to blow up. So yeah, I can see. If you listen to the lyrics, yeah, it kind of seems like
Yeah, valid point. Yeah, I mean,
the vibe of the song is kind of like, you know, trying to find a home, but it seems a little cynical. You know what I mean? It doesn't. It seems like trying to find meaning in possessions.
Yep. There's a cynicism to it that is definitely picked up. I will say, to me, this is when I went, okay, finally we got a filler song.
Yep, this was a filler.
Yep, this was a filler song, but it's still a good song.
It's catchy as fuck.
It's still a catchy fucking song.
They found a home, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's a filler song, but it's a higher grade filler song.
Filler songs are fucking bangers, Paul. They have no right. They have no goddamn right.
Oh goddamn right, Joe. This album should not be this. I'm sorry, Huey, if you're listening. Well, we'll talk about that. But if people are fucking. If the news is listening to this, man, you guys had no fucking right. I mean, kudos. I'm glad you did it. But what the fuck?
They had no right to do this, Paul. Yeah.
Come out of nowhere, put out a banger of a fucking thing, do Back to the Future, and then you're gone, essentially. Yeah. And then you're just gone.
They did 4, and then they vanished. Yeah, 4 has its bangers on it, too.
Yeah, but really, that was it. That was it.
They just did their touring bands. I think they did some jazz stuff for a while, too, man. They do what they want. I
think that's awesome. They earned it. You make this album, you earn whatever you fucking want to do. Just go, like, fuck you for doing it, but
jerks,
fucking dick.
And so they follow up the banger of a filler song with the best song on the album.
I love this.
This is it.
This is the best song on the album. And the video is so funny.
The video is fucking nuts. I shared it last night on Facebook, and I was just like, it makes like no sense.
None.
It's like a telephone booth in the middle of a beach.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Makes no sense. And it's God, it reminds me. I think of was it? There was another band when they all got their heads in the sand. Huey Lewis wasn't the first one to do that, or were they? And the other band did. I don't fucking know.
Bow Wow Wow with I Want Candy did that.
Bow Wow Wow did that, but I thought one of the was it Men at Work or one of those bands?
It could have been them too.
Yeah, did it.
It's all in the early '80s, so I don't know. It could have. They all could have done it the same. They put the same director. The director's vision was always heads in sand.
That and bikinis, because again, let's not forget Robert Dupree did a song with the WWE band Strike Force called "Girls in Cars." So, there's that. But no, this is the best song on the album.
And it's a song about a lack of communication.
Yep.
I think anybody's been in a relationship where it's painfully clear that it's over, but nobody's willing to admit it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the vibe I get from this song. Well, at least it's not the vibe. It's pretty much the interpretation.
No, I'm with you on that one. I love these kind of songs. I did it with Maxwell. I do with things like that, where I like that take on breakup songs and things like that, where it's about trying to find the why. And again, I don't feel like enough bands do that, because that is there's something there. Usually it's like, this or that. But I find when you don't know and you're writing songs about that, and it's like, girl don't lie just to save my feelings. Girl don't cry. Tell me nothing's wrong. Don't try to give me phony reasons. I'd rather leave than never believe. Yeah. It's so good.
It starts off, I've been phoning at night and morning. I heard you say, tell them I'm not home.
Yeah.
And now you're confessing, but I'm still guessing.
Yep.
I've been your fool for so long. It's like, yeah, it's like something, it's the why. What's going on?
It's the why. And I love the why. I do. I love because there's an introspection there. There's a mystery to solve there. And I guess I'm kind of always drawn to that.
Yeah.
Like
this line too, now you're pretending that it's not ending. You'll say anything to avoid a fight. And that's one of those things I think everybody's been in.
100%.
That's a situation. It's such a relatable 4 lines of verse. I think that's just like, it strikes anybody who's been in that situation. Like, fuck yeah, god damn it, Huey.
Yeah, Fucking ain't. God,
You have no right to be this good.
you have no right to be this good, but you are. And here's the thing. You and I had, well, we'll get to it, I think, at the end. We'll have our dad album talk at the end. But no, this is a fucking great song. And again, you got the ooh-op in it again, and it's just the hook and the beat and the chorus and the pre-chorus. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's a tremendous song.
Yeah.
Yep.
Followed up by You Crack Me Up, which is, again, another kind of banger, even though it's a filler song.
That's a filler song, but fast-paced and still has its charm.
And it's hilarious. Like, basically, Huey's seeing these drunk people at a bar.
Yeah.
He's fucking crazy. And he it starts with, "Oh my God, I can't believe my eyes." Underneath that ghostly pale, is that you?
Yeah.
Like, we've all seen that guy at the bar, like, holy shit, what the fuck happened to you, buddy?
Someone in your shape shouldn't be driving. Someone in your shape shouldn't be doing anything at all. You should see yourself in the mirror with your leather lips and your skin and your snakeskin boots. Do you have to shout my ear? Can you do me a favor? Just stop talking for a minute or two. And then, no, I don't want to sit in your sports car. No, I don't want to hear a tune. All the locals say you'll go so far. What's so funny? They don't know you like I do.
It's actually a hilarious song.
It is. It is.
And so this was written by Lewis and another person in the band. It's based on various people the band had encountered in the parking lot of a bar they used to go to called Uncle Charlie's.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. It's what that is. Good on them.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, yeah. Fuck. Like, we all know that feeling.
We do. Whoa.
If you've ever been in a bar long enough, you see that person. Sometimes it's us.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it's you. I do. There was this one time I was at O'Hara's, and God, I hated going to O'Hara's.
Oh, that was always bad.
There was always a fight every fucking time, and I wasn't involved in them, but every fucking time I went to O'Hara's, every single time, Joe, and I didn't go there often. There was a fight every single There wasn't one time I went there where there wasn't a fight. And one night I met up with these guys. I was in a very short-lived punk band with them. And they're like, "Oh my God, Paul, blah, blah, blah." And I was that guy. I was having a really rough time in my life at that point. And I ended up getting so drunk that I'm literally like, "Hang on a second, guys." And I'm throwing up in the corner and repouring my beer to keep going. And I am that drunk. And next thing I know, I hear some guy scream, "You motherfucker." I hear a glass break. My buddy Mike goes and runs into the bathroom. And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And here this guy has glass from a mug all over his fucking face. I'm throwing up in the corner. And my buddy Mike is helping pull out fucking glass out of this guy's face. And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I run back out to these guys. And I'm just like an absolute wreck. And I could tell, like, at this point, they don't want anything to do with me. I was that guy that night.
The only way that story could have ended better, Paul, is if you turned your head and there was a shocked Huey Lewis looking.
He probably was. Yeah. So there's that. But
yeah, O'Hara's, that was the place I would go to and would put Pink Floyd's Echoes on for like 4 or 5 plays before I'd leave.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, no, dude, I hated that bar. Like every time we'd be like, "Oh, where are we going tonight? We're going to O'Hara's." I'd be like, "Fuck."
Yeah, it was always a shit show there.
Always a shit show there.
But to be fair, every bar in St. Cloud is always a shit show. So,
yeah, I guess. Next, you got a Honky Tonk Blues. I did not like this rendition.
No, this was a weird.
It does not belong on the
album.
And I think this is the one that I have a feeling they put this on so it could hit that LP mark instead of the EP.
I think so too. It's a weird. It's a Hank Williams song. I like the original Hank Williams, but this is just. This sounds like a bar band doing a bar cover.
This sounds. That's I have it written in my notes that it's fucking Legends.
That's what I was thinking too. I didn't want to say it, but you did.
I'll say
it's like every band you hear at Legends.
Yep. It's White Man Blues is what it
Legends
is.
is a bar in St. Cloud, Minnesota that has white guy blues nights.
Yep. Wednesday night, white guy blues night.
It's unbearable.
It's awful. It is absolutely. I don't know if they do it anymore. They did. I mean, they've gone through like so many different management chains. I don't even think they do karaoke there anymore. But because that's where we would go. We do go do karaoke on Thursday nights, and then sometimes we'd go sing with the band on Friday and Saturday nights. Me and my buddy Scott would guest sing with that band. And then Wednesday nights they would do the blues. And I remember we went there like once or twice because the DJ was like, hey, I'm going to be doing the sound for it. And we were friends with the DJ guy. But goddamn, every time I go there, it was just the saddest fucking thing. And it was just like, I'd be like, God, this is just pissing me off. It's soulless. It's soulless blues, Joe. Yeah. And that's what this feels like to me. This feels like soulless blues. This is the one song on the album that doesn't work. Yeah,
I mean, they should. Yeah, I think you're right though. I think they added it just. I mean, it's a cover, so like, I think they just tacked it on to hit that LP length.
Hit that LP length. I think so. Absolutely. So, Joe,
put the Power of Love instead.
They should.
I don't think it was written.
I don't think it was written yet. I don't think it was. Because I think Power of Love was written in '85.
Imagine 86. If Power of Love was on.
Oh my God!
This that would just be like it'd be pretty damn close to a perfect.
It'd be pretty damn close to a perfect album. It really, 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 really would. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Power of Love was '85, '86.
Yeah, it was Back to the Future soundtrack. So.
Yep. Yep. 85. I was right. It's 85. Goddamn. 2 years later, they would do fucking Power of Love. Ridiculous, which was also like one of the biggest songs of 1985.
Yeah.
Because Back to the Future was one of the biggest fucking movies of 1985. This album, again, is an enigma. How the fuck Huey Lewis and the News came out with this album in 1983, giving it this sound, producing it themselves. This is true lightning in a bottle. This is whatever happened in the production studio, whatever happened, this is pure lightning in a bottle album. Everything had to go right that had to go right to make this happen. I just knowing things, because you do not get two kind of mediocre albums and then come out with this without something fucking happening.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I knew the answer. I think they just,
it was their
maybe
time.
This was like their last kind of gasp, because that's what was with Pink Floyd with Dark Side of the Moon. Like that was going to be their last album if they didn't make it.
Yep. It was. I mean,
I don't know if maybe that was in their minds. I mean, I couldn't find anything about it. It's just like Huey's like, yeah, we just went in the studio and made the album. It was pretty great, huh? Like, fucker, yeah, you have no right.
I mean, to be fair,
no right, you son of a bitch.
Well, they did have on the album previously, "Do You Believe in Love" and "Working on a Living," which were two fairly popular songs. But then, I mean, then you have this next one, and it does sound different. Like the whole, and again, I think it's because, as you said, they're like, no, let's let them produce it themselves.
And they're blending the new technology with, the old.
Yep. I think that it was a lot of it. And the fact that they knew how to manipulate the old with the new. There is a talent. There's an undeniable talent. Like, you could sit there and joke about Huey Lewis. You and I have been about them being a joke. But when you look at an album like this, which is essentially, in my mind, it's a 37-minute album. You got about half hour perfection.
Yep.
Is you don't do 30 minutes of perfection without knowing you're doing something. So
they had to have known, like, listen back to these tracks. You just have to know.
Yeah, exactly. They knew they were on to something here. And this album, rightfully so, launched Huey Lewis into the fucking mainstream.
Dude, this was the second biggest selling album of 1984 after Thriller.
Yeah. This was Thriller big. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is like a super multi-platinum album.
Yeah, I think it was 7 times platinum.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't surprise.
I don't have the thing up, but it's something like that. It was huge. Like it was huge.
Yeah, it's a huge album because I think you're right because it was like 1983 and then 1984 some of the other hits came out. Dude, they were fucking on like Donkey Kong with this fucking album, dude. Yeah. So
they had no right, Paul.
They had no right. But speaking of no right, Joe, how would you recommend the album?
Fuck yeah, Paul! This album's great.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. With the exception of Honky Tonk Blues, it's almost all killer, no filler. Like even the filler songs fucking rock.
Yeah, no, this I have no business recommending this album, but I have to.
we have no business making an album this good, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They had no right to do that.
They had no right to do that. It is.
They had no right to make me a Huey Lewis and the News fan, Paul. They had no right.
No. Well, now let's talk, because you and I had this conversation a little off air about dad rock, right?
Yes.
And what passes as dad rock now.
Yeah, because I was shocked to learn, I guess because I don't really think about it too much, but like when I heard Wilco was now considered dad rock, I was like,
Wilco is now considered dad rock, yeah.
But I'm like, you're like, yeah, but dude, that was like 20 years ago. I'm like, shit, it was 20 years ago. It doesn't feel like 20 years, but yeah, it has. It's weird because this was, for me growing up, this was dad rock. It was like Huey Lewis and the News and like Eric Clapton shit in the 80s. Like they're just like the dad rock stuff. And now like, bands I listen to are dad rock.
Well, let's talk about dad rock because I actually have this up here. Spin Magazine's 40 bands that define dad rock. Are you ready? And we'll go through these. We have time. But I think we should talk a little bit about dad rock, and you and I can explain how old we are nowadays. Number 40, U2. U2
I can see that.
Is now considered dad rock. REM is now considered dad rock, which I can see.
I could see that too.
Rolling Stones have always been dad rock. They will always be dad rock. Rolling Stones is on that.
The only time they weren't dad rock was in the 60s and to mid 70s. Yep. And then overnight they became dad rock. It just happens. It's like Paul McCartney. It just happened.
That's funny you say that because next on the list is Wings.
Yep, that's dad rock.
That's dad rock. Tom Waits.
Oddly, I wouldn't put the Beatles as dad rock.
I would not put the Beatles as dad rock either, but I would put Paul McCartney. And
I put Paul McCartney and John Lennon as dad rock.
Absolutely. Tom Waits, dad rock.
That one surprises me, but I guess I can see it.
I mean, I
don't agree with it, but I didn't make the list.
And I can't
listen to Rain Dogs and be like, yeah, this is dad rock.
I can't listen to Postcards to a Prostitute in Minneapolis.
Hooker in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Hooker in Minneapolis. Yeah, and go, that's dad rock. I can't do it. Tom Petty, dad rock.
I can see that. Yeah.
I can see that.
I
absolutely.
love Tom Petty as.
Oh, this pisses me off. Dude. Flaming Lips is dad rock.
I guess with Yoshimi, yeah, I guess you can.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, they did rip off a dad rock song on Fight Test, Paul.
They did.
They ripped off Cat Stevens.
Yeah, God.
You're gonna rip off Cat Stevens. You're gonna become dad rock.
All right. I don't agree with this one either. The Bee Gees.
No, that's just like disco.
That's disco. That's not dad rock. That's disco. I disagree with that. Spoon is dad rock, dude.
No, I wouldn't.
I would. No, you.
I disagree with that one. That's the one. The others so far, Tom Waits, I take issue with, but I can kind of see it. Spoon, no.
Spoon is not dad rock. I'm sorry.
They're not dad rock.
No. The Killers are considered dad rock now, which I can
kind of see that.
I can see dad rock. I can see that. Yep. Band of Horses is dad rock. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, no question.
No question. My Morning Jacket is now dad rock.
You know what? When you said the Band of Horses, I'm like, yeah, My Morning Jacket's going to have to be dad rock too. Yeah. I like My Morning Jacket a lot.
I do like My Morning Jacket as well, and it is dad rock.
Yeah, but I can slowly see it though, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah. The War on Drugs is a dad rock. Dad rock
Yeah, I can see
band.
that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they pretty much ripped off Springsteen. I mean,
Yep.
yeah. Pearl Jam, dad rock, 100%. Yeah, of course it is. Frank Zappa is dad rock.
I would disagree with that
would
because I don't
disagree
think
with that.
Zappa's really fits into any pocket of
No.
anything. I'm sorry. It's just he's just too weird. It'd be like saying Sid Barrett's Pink Floyd is dad. Like,
What?
like
Yeah,
it
Madcap
doesn't really
Blues is-
fit into anything. You know?
Yeah, Madcap Blues is fucking dad rock. No, it's not. Paul Simon, of course. Paul Simon is
Yeah,
dad
of course.
rock.
Simon. You might as
And I
well
love
put
it.
Garfunkel in the mix too because he's dad rock.
And I like some Garfunkel solo stuff. Dire Straits, of course.
Oh
it's dad
God,
rock.
that's like if there's a post. If you look at dad rock in the fucking dictionary, it's going to be Mark
Mark
Knopfler.
Knopfler. I know.
It's just going to be a drawing of Mark Knopfler.
Dude, I mean, seriously, you just listen to the fucking Princess Bride soundtrack.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, him and Sting, like that would just be like that's dad rock people. Like just keep walking.
Yeah, 100%. Billy Joel, dad rock. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes. They have Fleetwood Mac as dad rock.
Yep, I can
Yep.
see that.
I can see that. I disagree with this. David Bowie. I don't.
That's a rough one, but again, like he has things that are dad rock. I would say
That's a valid
he's really
point.
pops like Let's Dance.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. I was gonna say Let's Dance a Modern
Like,
Love.
but he's like so all over the map that eventually part of it's going to fall in a
Dad rock.
territory.
Fair enough.
He's just
Fair
so
enough.
diverse.
I agree with this one 100%. Santana is dad rock.
Oh yeah, get some smooth in there, Paul, with the
Yeah.
guy from Matchbox 20.
20. Yeah. Matchbox 20 should be on this list as dad rock as well. Neil Young, dad rock. Yes.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
I can see it. Absolutely. Haim. I don't know who this is. Haim. I don't know.
The girl band.
Yes, the girl band is Haim. The girl band. Yes, it's
They're
dad
pretty.
rock.
I mean, they're only been around like less than 10 years. How would they be dad rock?
How would they be dad rock?
I like Haim a lot.
I like what they do
They
with
did
Paul-
stuff
with
with
Paul
Vampire
Anderson.
Weekend that I really enjoyed. So
Yes, and I love Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Vampire
I
Weekend.
can see them being dad rock.
I could see them being dad rock.
Absolutely, the Paul Simon vibe from them. They are dad rock.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry.
I guess
love,
maybe Haim would fall into that then, since
uh,
I don't know. I find it hard to find Haim as dad rock.
I would agree with you as that one as well. I just think that that's not okay. To call that dad rock.
Maybe in
I-
10 years. Give it 10 years before you
Give it-
throw Haim under the dad rock bus.
Yeah. I would say that I do though with Vampire Weekend. Modern Vampires of the City is a brilliant album. We will get to that one at some point.
Contra's a pure dad rock album though.
Oh, it is. It's so fucking. I love it though.
It's just Paul. It's like a lost Paul Simon.
It really is. It really, really is. I fucking love it though.
Yeah, I listened to that so much in college.
Yeah, I listen to that. And Modern Vampires in the City has a lot of Paul Simon as well in it. Tons.
All their albums, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So next is The Band. Of course, The Band
absolutely.
is dad rock.
Yeah.
Little Feat, dad rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Cream. Yes, Cream is dad rock.
Yeah.
Of course. We just talked about
just
Clapton.
throw Eric Clapton and all his bands. They're all
Yeah.
dad rock.
They're all dad rock. Bon Iver. Yeah, Bon Iver is
Yeah.
dad rock. I can
Yeah.
see that. We have a disagreement here. They have the Beatles in as dad rock. I would not.
Yeah, I think they transcend dad
Yep,
rock.
I think
but
they
maybe that's because maybe I'm biased because I like the Beatles a lot, but they're so revolutionary. It's kind of hard for me to say that. So yeah,
I'm in agreement. Led Zeppelin. Yes, that's dad.
Yep.
100%. Thin Lizzy, dad rock.
Oh God, I love Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, I
I
love
love
Thin
to do
Lizzy.
Thin
too.
Lizzy at some point, Paul.
We will get them. Grateful Dead. Yes, that is
Yeah.
total dad rock. Yes.
That's
yes,
like
yes.
Grandpa rock.
That is like Grandpa Rock at this point. Bob Dylan. Yeah, Bob Dylan. Yes. Steely Dan. Yes, Steely Dan is dad rock.
Or
100%.
Steely Dan is.
God damn it. I mean, it is. It is though. It is. The Eagles. Yes.
Oh God, they're
Yes. Quintessence. Anything with Don Henley, throw it in dad rock.
yeah.
Counting Crows is dad rock. I disagree.
I agree.
With that. Really? Okay. I disagree.
Mr. Jones. Yeah, that's
okay, Mr. Joe. But God, it's I don't know. I feels like it's too depressing to be dad rock to me because the rest of the album, I mean, most of their stuff is really fucking dark and depressing. But I'll say it. All right, Booker T. Yeah, Booker T and the MGs. Yeah, 100%.
I love Booker T and the MGs too, but yeah, they're dad rock.
The Boss. Yeah, The Boss is dad rock.
Springsteen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The National. Yeah.
Yep.
The National's dad rock. Wilco's on dad rock, dude. Yep. Absolutely. Fish. Yep. And yeah, so that's the list of dad rock. So
Fish was number one, huh?
Yep.
It's a weird number one, but all right.
Yeah, I know.
I can see him in the list, but I would. I could put Steely Dan as a dad. Whatever.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's what dads say, Paul.
That is what dads say. And they also do terrible dad jokes. Like, what do you call a fish with no eyes? A fish. All right, Joe. Plugs.
I have nothing going. I'm so upset with that dad joke right now, Paul. Nothing. We don't have anything really new with the Joe down yet. So.
All right, fair enough. Joe, you gonna ask me what we're gonna do next week?
Paul.
Yes.
What are we gonna do next week?
Well, Joe, I'm gonna give you A or B.
B.
Okay. You are a lucky man. We are doing one of the arguably biggest female-led bands of all time. And we're going to do their banger of an album, Parallel Lines. We are doing Blondie. 1978 Blondie's Parallel Lines. We've danced around Deborah Harry and her Harry Deborah for a long time, and we are finally going to get to it. We are doing Blondie, sir. I figure we've had a couple banger of an albums, and it's time to hit it. There was going to be either a clunker.
What was the clunker, Paul?
I'm not going to give away the clunker because we are going to get to the clunker, and it's actually two clunkers. So because they're both really short albums, but it was either going to be a hard drop or a continual rise of good albums, and you, sir, lucked out. So we are doing Blondie's Parallel Lines.
I love that album, by the way. It was like the first Blondie album I bought, and I was just like, that was another one, right? It was like Huey Lewis, like each song's a fucking bang.
Yeah, yep, nope.
Except I was like, they do have the right to do this.
Blondie absolutely has the right to do
Huey Lewis had no right to be this good, and yet here we are.
Yeah, no. Huey Lewis did not. Blondie absolutely did. So we are going to do Parallel Lines with the classic hit, Heart of Glass.
And Call Me.
I know. We're going to get there. One way or another. I'm excited to do this one. Because again, you and I have danced around Blondie a couple of times. So, Yep, we're getting there. So, all right, Joe. Well, anything else we need to discuss? My satellite of love?
Nope. I think we're good, Paul.
All right. Do you want to take us out?
Absolutely not.
Did we love you? Did we hate you? Do you even care? Yes, you did. We're the best damn review team out there. How did we rate your album?